Hey, good morning. Welcome to Break the Cycle, and also welcome to the last day. I will say the last week, but not the last for Sexual Violence Awareness Month. April is a national Sexual Violence Awareness Month or Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And lately I have been posting a lot, sharing a little bit of my story, and a bit of I guess, awareness, some of the stuff that may helpful for our victim survivors out there, and hopefully, and also, for the people that are actually doing this work, that help and support. So I think I wanted to acknowledge, I think I wanted nothing in mind. I just thought, I'm in the car, I'm stuck in the traffic, and might as well talk while I'm battle the traffic this morning. The weather is really quite bad this morning, but that brought me in, I'm thinking about all the victim survivors of sexual violence or sexual abuse. There's sexual violence is a massive thing, but when you actually break it down, what does that look like? So I'm probably going to talk about sexual abuse. So I guess my heart goes into the people that victim and survivors, especially for those one that haven't had the courage, or maybe they still running away from it. They suppress it for so long, that probably for them it's okay to live with it. And I'm also thinking about the people that already maybe just start their journey, and this is going to be, it's my heart goes out for you guys, that you only just start your journey, and you're looking elsewhere, and you're thinking of what's helpful, and maybe confused sometimes. Maybe you're wondering, am I doing the right thing? Am I actually open this big thing, and is my family going to dislike me? They're going to cut me out? Or even asking yourself, you're probably wondering, are you getting the right support, or are you doing the right thing? So I guess I wanted to encourage yous, for those one that haven't started their journey, to reach out for help, and it could start with having that conversation with that one person that you need in your life, that really supportive, that you can open up, you can talk about anything, you can trust, and very supportive of your journey, especially if you haven't disclosed to anyone, or you haven't talked to anybody. For those one that already start their journey and thinking about am I actually doing this right thing, or or worry about your family, worry about people finding out, I encourage you to continue, keep going, brother and sister. I just encourage you to continue and keep going. It is really normal to feel that way, and I have to say that no matter how long, and I'll think about my own journey, it's 2017, 2025, I'm still having those feelings of, am I actually doing the right thing? Am I actually putting my family down, by sharing my own journey? And the what if, and am I doing the right thing, and all that sort of, a lot of questions, but I'm glad. For me, I personally say this, I'm glad I actually started that journey. And I could have done it, I don't know if I could do it in a better, any other way, now that I know, it's still hard, and it's still challenging, dealing with people that and your cultures, your beliefs, and your support system, the people that you think that it should stand by you and accept who you are, so I'm just saying that, it's encouraging you to continue and really finding, just find the people that really stand by you during that difficult time, whether you're only in 1 week or 1 month or 2 months and even 2 years of your healing journey. I really encourage you. You're doing the right thing. You're doing everything for you, especially for you to find your healing. And it's about you, for you to find love, peace, and your self-worth, knowing that there's bigger plan ahead of you, and as you go through that journey, you'll learn there's somewhere throughout that journey you're gonna end up using what you've been through to help somebody, and whether it's like your kids, your partner, your friends, and could be a work. It's the reason why I'm doing the work that I am doing now, helping our means that being through the same experience as I do, and I'm telling you, it is, I'm glad that I actually went through that journey, and being able to connect with some of the means that I'm working with now, and being able to support and help them. I think the other thing that I'm thinking a lot about is our kids. How do we support our kids, and how would we make sure that we have these conversations with our kids, especially around sexual abuse, sexual violence, what's appropriate, and even consent. To be honest, if I share my own experience, me and my wife have spoke about and talked to our kids, our two girls, about keeping themselves safe, and what does that look like, their private parts, and make sure they keep their bodies sacred, like it's nobody else, that's them, and just building that, I guess it's just building that relationship with them. These young people, if they trust and I guess have their trust on you, especially you parents, caregivers, mentors, then I guess just making sure that you build that relationship. They can trust you, like they can come to you and talk to you about if something happened. Then they don't have that barrier of I can't tell, or I can't talk to my mom and dad because they'll feel like they might end up in trouble, or they might get a hiding, or even disbelieve. They might not believe me. So that's all my thinking around how would you build that relationship, and making sure that our young people are safe, and more awareness of sexual violence and sexual abuse, and especially people that you think also like be aware. Like I guess this is my message into everybody around, family members, community, like the community that you trust, that you think that it's part of your life, and you trust people in that community. I really encourage to really have to think about, like, why would you trust those people, and to what does that look like? Can you leave your kids, these young people, with them, and trust them that there's nothing gonna happen? Because man, there's some of the story that come out, these are the people that mum and dad trusted back then, and they're being friends, they're being family members, involved. Unfortunately, happens. So I guess that's what my encouragement is. Who do you trust? you know, and what does that look like for you as a parents and caregivers, and you know, who do you trust? I guess asking that question as well, like who do you leave your kids with? And if you do leave your kids, you know, do you have that open conversation with them, making sure that if something happened, and what does that look like? You know, what does sexual abuse look like? Sexual assault, you know, and it can be like we talk about showing photos, videos, sexualized act, you know, showing their private parts, think that's okay, you know, it's not okay, you know. And even if it's a, you know, friends, like a girl and a girl, that's not okay at all, you know. Being able to show each other's private parts, that's not okay, you know. And do you talk to your kids like that, you know, or do you think, oh, you know, just kids, they just kids, they play, you know? And that mindset, sometimes the kids think that, well, mum and dad say like it's okay, it's just kids playing, you know. Come on, let kids be kids. And really have to be aware, like, you know, the things that you think it's okay, but, you know, later on in life, you know, they might have that impact in their life. And, you know, and even they might think when somebody actually do that to them, they might think, oh, you know, I'm just kids, you know. Mum and dad think it's okay, you know, for somebody to do that to them, which is, it's not normal. How do you have that conversation? I guess is if you wanted to seek help, you can reach out and have that conversation with somebody that you think, you know, how would you start that conversation? Apart from that, really, you know, it's coming into the end of the Sexual Assault Awareness Month, but this is not the end, because I know, you know, this is massive, you know, and it's being hidden for quite a long time. You know, there's so many of our community and even all around the world that's being hidden for so long. I mean, look at all the survivors of sexual abuse that come out of like church, that come out of school, that come out of boys' home, you know, that come out of like the families, the caregivers, and even that in journal, you know, there's so many, and even like people, you know, that's the hierarchy, you know, that's people that's way up there, you know. It's huge, but thanks to social media and all the connection that we have now, that, you know, we can finally share some of those stories, you know. And it really does, it makes me sad, it breaks my heart, but it's also motivated me to actually continue doing this journey and raise the flag. So one of the things that I really wanted to talk about is, you know, male survivors of child sexual abuse. You know, we label, I guess, in the stigma around men, like the world is like label, and each culture have different view on it, you know, and how they look at the men, you know. And I'm gonna talk from my own experience as a Pacifica man, Pacifica male that had been through that experience of sexual abuse, you know. And man, it's massive. Like, you know, think about it now, like, you know, if I didn't have the support that I have from my wife, I guess I would have never come this far and talk openly and speak openly about it. And probably what would that look like for my health and mentally, physically, or probably, I don't know, probably still continue drinking, lost, away from my faith, and yeah, still very defensive. I mean, I'm still there's still a lot of work for me to do in that area, but you know, it's much better than it was before. So like being a male, Pacifica male, it's tough, you know, and what I've realized that there's, you know, people can talk about, like a lot of our men can talk about their you know, drugs and alcohol and, you know, family violence, or, you know, bro, you had a fight and you've been violence and all that sort of thing. So they can work and talk about that things. But the underlying issues of some of that stuff, like, you know, where does it all come from though? You know, why do you react that way? You know, why do you carry so much anger, you know, and you react that way into your relationship when you actually get triggered? You know, so men don't talk about it, you know, and as I said, specifically talking from Pacifica male, no, we don't, you know. Our pride, you know, as a Pacifica men, you know, we build solid, muscular leader, you know, strong, athletics, you know, we're famous people in sports, you know, we do well in sports, you know. And you look at the All Blacks and, you know, the boxing, you know, there's some massive famous name in there, you know. So it become like, you know, we don't talk about that stuff. We can only talk about, you know, our success and things that, you know, kind of people look at us and, you know, man, you know, some of the Pacific men are very successful, but when it comes to, you know, child sexual abuse, no, we don't. And I'm, you know, don't get me wrong, like, you know, I know there's a lot of people that, you know, learn. Some are people that, you know, they have learned to move on, and, you know, they don't have to talk about it, they don't have to advocate, they don't have to repeat, you know, the message over and over again. But then it become like normal, you know, in our culture, that don't talk about it, bro. You know, don't bring it up into the light, you know. Just, it is what it is. But for me, that's not okay, because, man, if we don't do something about it now, you look at the stats in New Zealand, you know, 1 in 6 boys experience sexual abuse before they turn 16. 1 in 3 for girls. So the number is quite high, but we don't talk about it. Like, that's why I'm actually doing what I'm doing. So, you know, our means is like, I guess I'm encouraging our means, like, in journal, but, you know, our Pacifica male, like our Pacifica men, like role model that have experience in sexual abuse in their childhood. Man, I'm encouraging you guys to use your voice, you know, use your voice, you know, if you can hear me, because we can't continue the way it is. I mean, look at jail, you know, the stats in jail, 95% of the men that go in jail, you know, they experience some form of sexual abuse in their childhood. 95%, you know, that's huge, it's massive. But even that, even the men that go to jail, they don't talk about it, you know. Even coming out, I mean, I'm working with some of these men, you know, they even themselves, they find it hard to actually talk about their sexual abuse, you know, what happened to them, you know, their uncle, their cousins, or some family member that done it to them, you know. So they find it really hard to talk about it. But for me, as an encouragement and me openly talk about my live experience, I guess it opened the door for some of these men to, okay, so maybe it is okay to talk about it, because that's part of their healing. All right. I think lastly, I just really put my heart out into to all the victim and survivors, you know, out there. I just want to encourage you guys. I just want to I pray for you every night. Always mention, for the men's, victim and survivors of sexual abuse that have been through this experience. I pray for you. I pray for healing. I pray for your love. I pray for peace, that you can find. You can find yourself. Have the courage and resilience to continue if you already start that healing journey. So I just want to acknowledge those one that advocate for this event, specifically Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and even the people that have their voice, that have the courage to actually share their story publicly, even having a conversation with their own family members. I'm in that journey now, starting to finding a way how I can have that conversation with my siblings and my family. Hopefully that will just pray for guidance, for me to be able to do that. And what does that look like? Because that's massive, because it's realized that it's not just me that's an impact. There's my siblings, there's my family, that is still involved with my whole journey. So there's still got a bit of a work to do. It is tiring. It is sometimes I feel like why am I actually doing this? I don't know. Sometimes feels lonely as well. But I keep going back into my purpose. Why did God created me on this earth? What's the message that He wants me to deliver, or what do I need to do with this experience? And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Is be able to help connect with some of the men that been through the same experience, and then even sharing my live experience publicly. Hope to continue sharing this message and encourage other men to actually reach out, finding help for themselves, and just for the younger generation, I guess. But apart from that, God bless you all. Please do ask the question. Is there anything that you may want to ask, or you're not sure what is the journey, or what are the steps? I am looking at how I can continue going into the I guess in the therapy world, and even the people that's already doing this work with our victim and survivors, and maybe share my experience with them and do a bit of a training with them, and help them out, how they can continue impact into our victim and survivors and the work that they do. But God bless you all. My heart goes out to you. Encourage you guys that have already started. For those one that haven't started it, please start your journey. It is worth it. It's possible, and you can do it. I hear you. I see you, and I'm here to walk with you. Tau whasoi fo.